Hello, all you freedom-loving people. Welcome to another episode of Front Page. I'm your host, Scott Cameron Goulet. AT&T's phone network went down in a major way yesterday. The cause is still unknown. President Trump's defense attorney protested the Attorney General's rush to enforce the payment, but New York Supreme Court Justice Arthur Engoron insisted that there's no problem in doing so. New York's real estate is estimated to be in tatters from here on out. President Trump managed to convince a large number of undecided voters to support him through the Laura Ingraham town hall meeting in South Carolina. So how did he do that? Does Special Counsel Jack Smith have the authority to file a classified documents lawsuit against President Trump? Maybe not. Nvidia's last quarter results were so impressive that not only did the company's own stock go up, but it also boosted stocks in the US, Europe, and also Japan. Japan in particular is now at an all-time high. Okay, let's get into it. On Thursday morning, many Americans found themselves without a signal on their cell phones. That's because AT&T suffered a cellular service outage. This resulted in the disruption of calls, texts, and even emergency services in major cities, including San Francisco. AT&T acknowledged that a massive outage occurred, but they did not provide a reason for the system failure. Verizon and T-Mobile have also received reports of network outage for some customers, but on a much smaller scale. Both companies said that their networks were not affected by the AT&T service outage and that customers reporting outages may not have been able to reach customers that were using AT&T. Hours later, AT&T said that 75% of its network had been restored. In an earlier statement, the company said that it encouraged users to use Wi-Fi calling until service is restored. At present, many smartphone users have installed several real-time communication software such as Signal and WhatsApp. However, to make a call through Wi-Fi using such applications, it's necessary for the other party to have the same software installed on their cell phone, and if you call a landline, you can't use this software. Wi-Fi calling can avoid these problems, though. So what is Wi-Fi calling? In short, the Wi-Fi calling feature allows users to make and receive phone calls and text messages over a Wi-Fi or internet network instead of their telecom provider's network. I personally have asked my family members to install the Signal app so we can still call each other when such failures occur. This is a free service. Users do not need to pay any extra fee to use it. Users also don't need to do anything to activate Wi-Fi calling. As long as your device supports the feature, your internet service provider will activate it. Because the outage affected people's ability to call 911 for emergency services, the FCC is investigating the incident, and the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Administration is working with AT&T to understand the cause of the incident. The FBI and the Department of Homeland Security are trying to determine whether the outage was caused by a cyber attack or hacking. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis warned of the current AT&T network outage at a press conference on Thursday.
Like having it's honestly, it's like, imagine if we had like an EMP attack or something like that, what would end up happening in this country? So it's not necessarily a good thought, because you think you're just so naturally reliant on having cell service. If you're in the car, you need to figure out where you're going to go, all this other stuff. So it's a little bit jarring to think about the implications if something like that happened on a much grander scale.
The EMP he referred to is an acronym for electromagnetic pulse. It's a burst of electromagnetic energy produced by a nuclear explosion in the atmosphere. It's considered capable of widespread damage to power lines, telecommunications, and electronic equipment. Senator Marco Rubio warned that the AT&T outage, which affected tens of thousands of Americans, pales in comparison to a possible cyber attack by the Chinese Communist Party. Senator Rubio wrote on X, "I don't know the cause of the AT&T outage, but I do know it will be 100 times worse when China launches a cyber attack on America on the eve of a Taiwan invasion. And it won't be just cell service they hit. It will be your power, your water, and your bank." Multiple GOP leaders agreed with him. Senator Eric Schmidt said, "Marco Rubio is correct here. Hardening critical cyber infrastructure is a matter of national security." Representative Carlos Jimenez posted, "Agreed, Senator Marco Rubio. Communist China will continue to work overtime to undermine America and the free world." New York Supreme Court Justice Arthur Engoron has denied President Trump's request for a 30-day stay of judgment after Engoron ordered President Trump to pay more than $355 million in fines last Friday. The ruling shows that the clock starts ticking on case penalties at the end of the trial. They just can't wait to receive this fine without giving President Trump any break. A draft judgment was filed on Tuesday by attorney Colleen Faraday. President Trump's attorney Robert Clifford argued it was improper for the prosecutors to submit a proposal for judgment without any notice whatsoever on the defendant's part. Robert Clifford argued to the court on Wednesday to deprive defendants of the opportunity to submit a proposed counter judgment would be contrary to fundamental fairness and due process. Justice Engoron responded by email on the same Wednesday, asking defendants to please let me know by 5 p.m. today if you object in any specific way and how your counter judgment would be different. Robert Clifford then filed another reply letter arguing that the Attorney General's unseemingly rush to memorialize a judgment violates all accepted practice in New York State Court. In the letter, Robert highlighted two errors, one regarding when the interest should begin on the $1 million penalty for the Trump Organization's former chief financial officer, Alan Weisselberg, and the other concerning the business addresses of the defendants. He asked for a 30-day extension to allow for orderly post-judgment proceedings. On February 22nd, Andrew Amer, the special counsel for the Attorney General's office, objected to a 30-day stay on enforcement, arguing that defendants didn't sufficiently provide a basis for that request. Justice Engoron also stated the defense had not shown sufficient grounds to request a stay. He wrote in a February 22nd email, "I intend to sign the proposed judgment this morning. You have failed to explain, much less justify, any basis for a judgment." According to the docket, the judgment has been sent to the county clerk. If you recall, a summary judgment was issued even before President Trump went to trial. The judge already said President Trump was guilty of fraud, and they were just going to determine how much President Trump was going to have to pay. Normally, a summary judgment is only entered when the defendants have already admitted guilt. If you remain silent, then your silence is also consent to those claims. But President Trump wasn't ever given the chance to rebut before the summary judgment was issued, did he? This civil fraud case has caused everyone in the business world to be on the edge of their seats. A number of prominent investors have said that they would stop doing business in New York. Following in the footsteps of investor Kevin O'Leary, real estate mogul Grant Cardone announced on February 20th that his Cardone Capital would no longer underwrite real estate in New York City. In a post on X, Grant Cardone said, "Dear Cardone Capital team, immediately discontinue all underwriting on New York City real estate. The risk outweigh the opportunities at this time. Recent political decisions will continue to deteriorate price and benefit states that don't have these challenges. Focus on Texas and Florida." In an interview with Fox News on February 21st, Cardone further explained that when the verdict against President Trump was handed down, it meant that New York was no longer a place to do business. Don't touch it and don't go there. New York Governor Kathy Hochul has tried to calm the fear that has come from the ruling. She insists that law-abiding, rule-following New Yorkers, who are business people, have nothing to worry about because they're very different from Donald Trump and his behavior. But investors don't see it that way. Kevin O'Leary said, "The fact that he was found guilty, you might as well find guilty every real estate developer on earth." And the truckers are also not backing down. They are continuing their boycott to support President Trump. There were some reports that Chicago Ray retracted his NYC boycott. But Chicago Ray denied all reports with posts and videos on X. He made it clear that he wouldn't waver. Ray posted, "I'm calling on Fox News Politics, to DM my account the same way you sent me a DM asking me to appear on Jesse Watters. I demand you retract this misrepresentation of me. Right now, I never walked anything back, and I didn't call for a boycott of NYC. and hurry up about it. I could seek legal action. My character is at stake. And later he posted again saying, having second thoughts. Might just go after Fox News for misrepresenting me in this post. In his later video, Chicago Ray shouted out to all truckers and all the people who are supporting him along the way. Ray mentioned and applauded trucker Jake, who joined Tucker Carlson on Thursday. In the interview with Tucker Carlson, Jake explained his thoughts about the recent ruling against President Trump.
Well, I tell you what, I am proud to stand with my fellow brothers and sisters in the trucking industry. They are among President Trump's strongest supporters. And we, along with other MAGA patriot Americans, have been watching how this government has been persecuting President Trump. And we are fed up with it. Americans and truckers primarily are standing up and saying we have had enough. And this boycotts have been very effective in the past. And I support this boycott, and hopefully this will just be the beginning. I would support boycotts of other blue cities, and this is our way of peacefully protesting and hopefully bringing President Trump back to the White House.
Before we move on, I want to tell you that the FDA and the CDC recently admitted a fact that they were long denying about vaccines. We discussed the news and some other new studies that support the claim on our Ganjing World platform so that we can talk about it in more detail. I'll leave the link in the description below, so please watch it there. Okay, let's get back into it. On Tuesday, President Trump attended a Fox News town hall meeting in South Carolina. South Carolina's primary election is on Saturday, and Nikki Haley is still trailing President Trump. But there are also a large number of undecided voters in the area. Beforehand, Laura Ingram's team invited 5 undecided South Carolina voters to an interview. They each spoke about their top concerns.
What was the big issue for them, the number one issue as they go to the polls, and what was it? Immigration, the border and immigration. Why? Jason, you are a pastor.
Yeah.
Why are you concerned about this issue?
Just the amount of fentanyl and the drugs that are coming over. I've been to way too many funerals of people who've overdosed on fentanyl, and the resources that are being used to house migrants could be used to help the homeless here.
Mm-hmm. Tracy, you also very concerned about the border and what to do about the 10 million people who've come into the country under Biden.
That's what I'm worried about, the logistics of finding these people and sending them back home. Now, Nikki Haley said E-Verify is what she would use, and that's great, but criminals aren't looking for jobs, and E-Verify won't affect them. So I'd like to know how we can get them before they commit a crime.
Dakota is a student here in South Carolina. You're concerned about the border. Why? You would think students wouldn't be concerned about this.
I'm honestly really concerned because at school I study criminology, and my colleagues are just talking about it all the time about the fentanyl epidemic that's coming from the border and how it's just ravaging even our campus.
And Matt, your big concern.
Well, you know, the wall has not been completed. We've got to get that done. But I've also never met an American who would open the door and let someone in their house if you don't know who's coming in or who's on your front doorstep.
Eric, I know this is another burning issue for you. You were very impassioned about it earlier.
Yes, human trafficking for me, the part of that destroying our America as far as the thought of children being molested, it just sickens me.
Rips you up.
Nikki Haley advocates for more support to Ukraine. This has been advocated by the mainstream media and establishment politicians. So what did these voters think?
Who supports more funding for Ukraine? Oh, I got one in the back. Matt's doing this. Why?
Well, I'm all about, defending Ukraine from Russia, but I would at least like to know where the money's going to. There's got to be some sense of accountability, and we continue to send so much money, but when is another country going to pay their way?
Yeah. Go ahead, Tracy.
I'd like to see us squeeze Russia financially so they're not able to continue the war more than just throwing money at Zelensky and not knowing where it's going.
I would like to see, accountability. Where's the money going? Who's getting it? Are they, Ukraine just lost the city, and they said they had no weapons. Where's the money for that?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that we're standing by Putin, by not, supporting funding for the Ukraine. The issue is we need to know where the money's going, and why haven't other countries who want Ukraine to win this war, why haven't they paid their fair share?
Yeah, Tracy, they really have tried to pitch this, though, as if you don't support sending more money to Zelensky and Ukraine, you're a Putin sympathizer.
How about becoming energy independent and squeezing Russia out of all the oil that he's selling to Europe and China and whatnot? And then he won't be able to fund a war.
Dakota, you have any concern about this?
Yes, I definitely think that energy independence is very important. We built 2 big docks in Germany to give them energy when we were making it under the Trump administration. And now those docks are not being used because Biden cut it all down. And we need to go back
Pipeline.
to
Keystone Pipeline.
Go.
Okay.
Inflation is also on the concern list, but Nikki Haley has just been attacking President Trump's age. So will this be a problem for voters?
Does Donald Trump's age concern you all?
No, not me.
No.
I would say in general, we should try to go more towards younger people running for office.
The 5 undecided voters were asked if they changed their vote after President Trump's town hall meeting with Laura Ingraham. All 5 said they now support Donald Trump. They each elaborated on their reasons for changing their minds.
Why don't we do a show of hands?
Yes. If any of you changed your votes.
Yes.
I was leaning Trump. I'm definitely going to vote Trump now.
How about you guys?
Same.
Yes.
I went to both the Nikki Haley town hall and now the Donald Trump town hall, and I can safely say that I think I'm going to vote for Donald Trump.
Matt?
Well, like you said last night, I was 50-50, kind of riding the line, but Trump really pulled pretty hard today. I really enjoyed we didn't have to talk jokes, let's just talk policy, and for once we got that out of Donald Trump today.
I think what we've seen here, though, yesterday, at least 3 of you were very undecided. Donald Trump really flipped this, and now we have a unanimous panel of Trump supporters.
Yes.
Did you expect that's where you'd land, Eric?
Well, when he read that thing about the 8th Amendment, because my biggest fear also was the legal challenges. And to me, even though it was simplistic, it showed me he had at least a strategy. Like he has a plan to get out of these troubles. And for me, when he said that he was doing it for America, I believed him. And so therefore I felt to myself, I owe him that, at least to give that vote to him on that, for that reason.
Matt, when I said to him, you could just say I'm done. Like, I can't, this is too much. I mean, for most human beings, it would be too much.
Give up.
I mean, my heart breaks for him, for what has happened.
In his eyes when, I forget who asked it today, but you could see it in his eyes when he said, I'm not worried about my safety. I'm worried about the safety of this country and its people. That was a very powerful remark by the president.
I think so, too.
That line,
Clever remark.
So how does President Trump plan to shake off all of these legal troubles? Here is one of his actions. On Thursday, President Trump filed 4 motions to dismiss the classified documents case that is being pursued against him in Florida. President Trump argued that special counsel Jack Smith lacks the authority to prosecute the case. In one of the motions, President Trump's attorney argued that neither the U.S. Constitution nor Congress formally established the office of special counsel, and therefore Jack Smith's appointment was invalid. Furthermore, the special counsel's office is being funded off the books by the Biden administration. They cited the appointments clause, and they argued that Attorney General Merrick Garland did not have the authority to appoint a like-minded political ally as special counsel without Senate confirmation. The appointments clause stipulates that all federal offices, with the exception of the presidency, must be created by Congress and appointed with the advice and consent of the Senate. The motion reads, there is, however, no statute establishing the office of special counsel. Therefore, the only remedy is to dismiss the superseding indictment. The motion states, as such, Jack Smith lacks the authority to prosecute this action. The International Brotherhood of Teamsters, the IBT, gave $45,000 to the Republican National Committee, the RNC, in late January. This is according to Federal Election Commission FEC records. This is a rare case of a union supporting the Republican Party. The donation was received in mid-January, a few days after IBT President Sean O'Brien met with President Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Immediately following the donation, the entire union leadership met with President Trump in Washington, D.C. The union has historically supported and donated to Democrats, having endorsed Biden in 2020, Hillary Clinton in 2016, and former President Barack Obama in 2012 and 2008. The IBT is one of the few national unions that is yet to endorse a presidential candidate. After meeting with IBT leaders last month, President Trump speculated he might have rare support from the organization. President Trump said that he already had strong support among the union's general membership. Normally, President Trump has said Republicans don't get this kind of support, but this situation is different because President Trump employs thousands of truck drivers. Nvidia announced its quarterly results and latest forecast on Wednesday night. It exceeded analysts' expectations. The bright earnings report triggered a strong rebound in the market. The stock closed up 16.4% on Thursday, boosting shares of other tech companies. Key stock indexes on 3 continents hit record highs on Thursday. The S&P 500 closed up 2.1%, which is its biggest one-day gain since January of 2023. The Nasdaq 100 surged 3%, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is seen as a proxy for the health of the U.S. economy, topped 39,000 for the first time. The Stock 600, Nikkei 225, and the FTSE All-World Indexes all reached record highs. So why does one company's financial report have such a big impact? Nvidia's chips are a key link in the AI chain, and AI is the last place the investment community wants to miss right now. Nvidia forecasts their first quarter revenue to triple and exceed fourth quarter revenue expectations. As a result, investors rushed to buy the stock, pushing Nvidia's share price to $785.38, which is a record high. On Thursday alone, the company's market capitalization increased $277 billion. It was the biggest one-day gain in Wall Street history. Nvidia's market capitalization is now risen to $1.96 trillion. This means that Nvidia has surpassed Amazon and Alphabet to become the third largest U.S. public company behind Microsoft and Apple. As the chip leader Nvidia released a super expected earnings impact, the Japanese market on February 22nd hit a new record high beyond the 1989 economic bubble at the highest level. The Nikkei 225 surge was mainly driven by the semiconductor and artificial intelligence related sectors. The 5 largest gainers among the Nikkei 225 components all belong to the semiconductor sector. Tokyo Electron jumped 6% to give the biggest boost to the Nikkei, while chip testing equipment maker Advantest surged 7.5%. Another chip-related share, Screen Holdings, rallied more than 10%, while SoftBank Group rose more than 5%, and Electric Machinery rose 2.4%. Japanese stocks are also performing well because cheap valuations and corporate reforms are attracting foreign funds looking for alternatives to the battered Chinese market. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you so much for your support of Front Page. Please remember that every like, comment, and share helps more people to see the truth. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you have already subscribed, we thank you, but please double check to make sure that you're still subscribed, because some of our audience have reported that they're somehow unsubscribed without their knowledge. We've also heard that many of you don't get notifications of our videos anymore on YouTube. So when you do subscribe on YouTube, please make sure to tap the notification bell as well. Okay, this is our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard today, please don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends and family, because everybody deserves to know the truth. Again, thank you for watching Front Page, and we will see you next time.